Good morning. Today is Sunday, November 30th at 9:28 a.m. I woke up maybe like an hour and a half ago. Maybe more like 2 hours ago. But I wanted to talk about just the checklist that I go to if something feels off, right? So some days I wake up, I feel like something's off, but it's not necessarily like I'm sad or I'm burnt out. I feel sort of like disconnected in a way. But I've had this little checklist, this little thing that I go through every single time I feel this way, and most of the time, right? Most of the time. I'm not saying this fixes like everything, but most of the time I go through it and I'm like, okay, awesome, I feel a lot better, and then it'll help me continue with the rest of my day. And I think it would be the best to go through this checklist first thing in the morning if something is off, but usually like I don't need to go through this checklist because there are things that I usually do, but even if it's during the day, I'm like, I go through it, I'm like, okay, maybe I forgot this part, so I gotta go out and do it. So bear with me here. I'm gonna go through each thing and then probably explain it. I'm gonna save you some time if you just wanna get the list and then just be on your way, because sometimes I'm like that, to be honest. I watch videos and then they're like, okay, these things are things that I already know. It's just I need to apply it. So maybe you're like that. So the first thing would be to drink water. Do you have enough water? Second, move your body in any way. Walking, push-ups, whatever. Getting sunlight is the third thing. Going outside, getting some fresh air, being with nature. 4, create something. So it could be a video like this, a journal entry. But the 5th thing is actually journaling. So those are the 5 things that I like to go through. And that is it. If you want to stick around, I appreciate you. We can go into more detail, but I kind of wanted to try this format where I lay down the list just because I want to save you some time. I know you have things to do. You don't want to watch this video all the way, and you just want to get the value, the straight up value. Like in the most simplest way, those are the 5 points. But let's go ahead and talk about the first one, drinking water. I personally like to drink water as soon as I wake up. Is probably like the first thing I do. It just helps me get hydrated. It hydrates my mouth so it's not so dry, even though I wear mouth tape. You know, like, you're not eating or drinking for 8 hours straight. Of course you're gonna get a little dehydrated, right? So drink your water first. That's pretty much all there is to it. And then make sure you're drinking your water throughout the day. That's why I like to have like a little tumbler that I like to fill up ever so often throughout the day. As well, yeah, there's my water bottle back there. So I'm not saying you should have multiple places to have your water, but at least just one, and have it near you so that you're always reminded, and it becomes sort of like a part of your life, a part of your routine. Second, move your body in any way. It can be as simple as walking, right? I have a walking pad, so I can do this in the comfort of my own home, but you can go out your neighborhood or to a park, just walk. It doesn't have to be super intensive, and there are many ways to go about this as well. You could wear music, you could listen to a podcast, you could watch a YouTube video. Make sure you're in a safe environment, because if you're outside, it probably wouldn't be advisable to be walking and watching a YouTube video. You kind of want to be alert, but if you're in your home, you have a walking pad, that's awesome. So I guess it just depends on what type of walking that you're doing. Sometimes you could even not have anything on, sit alone with your thoughts and sort of get to know yourself better. So walking is awesome, but there are other forms of exercise. You can do push-ups, especially if you're in a space that is not very spacious. For example, my room, you can do push-ups, you can do some sort of ab work, you can do squats, and if you have a pull-up bar, that'd be even better, because pull-ups are one of the best exercises. Just, you can stick to the basics. You don't have to do a full-on workout. I like to do these like throughout the day, just so that I can get my body moving and I feel better. So a lot of health benefits when you're moving your body, especially when you're a person like me who just sits down in their chair all day if I didn't go out and exercise. So move your body in some sort of way. Third thing is to get sunlight. Go outside. It doesn't have to be for very long. I literally just step outside the house for 10, 15, 20 minutes, and that's good enough. It's better than nothing, right? Yes, you want to wear some sort of sunscreen. That's still very important. And then I personally don't like to go out during midday, so like especially when it's like super hot, when it gets up to noon to like 3 p.m. I don't like going out there. Maybe during the morning. I feel like as the sun is like still coming up, that's really nice, or like right before the sun sets. Those are my favorite times to go out, just because you can kind of feel the sun's rays, but it's not too intense. It's really nice. It's really pleasurable. And you can sort of feel your energy, not energy, your mood shift when you go out and get some sunlight. And you can kind of kill two birds with one stone, right? You could go out and get some sunlight. Maybe you could exercise, or maybe you could listen to a podcast. Maybe, again, sit with your own thoughts. So these things can kind of work hand in hand together, and you can do multiple things together if you want to save more time, or if you just don't have that much time in general. And when you go outside first thing in the morning too, it sorts of resets your clock in a way. It gets your body waking up, and you're like, okay, it's daytime. I have to get up, start working, do what I need to do. So yeah, in the morning, I would say, is when I would personally do it. Next thing, create something, even if it's small. It doesn't have to be a full-on YouTube video. It doesn't have to be a full-on painting. You can do a quick 5-minute sketch. You can do a quick journal entry on your notebook. Write down a couple of sentences, a short paragraph. It doesn't have to be anything huge, and it can just be anything that's creative, that'll allow you to be creative. So there's so many different ways you can write. You can... I'm trying to think, and I'm drawing a blank. Dancing is something that I want to get into as well. I'm gonna go sort of off topic. It's something that I've been wanting to get into, but I haven't been putting in the time, as much time as I'd like to. But anyways, so just create something, even if it's small. Take pictures, take videos. That I would count as creating. And if you do this every single day, instead of consuming, you would be a whole lot happier. We're all like consuming so much when it comes to social media. We're watching movies, we're watching anime. And yes, sometimes they can inspire us to create, but sometimes we just have to get out there and do it. Last but not least is journaling. So I kind of touched up on this topic with the last point, but again, you don't have to journal very long. You don't have to fill up a whole page. You can do a short sentence, 2 sentences of short paragraph, and make sure you just write. What do I write about, you may ask? Jason, what is it? What can I write about? Well, it's your journal. You can write about anything you want. You can write about whatever you want. what you're feeling, what you did that day, what you're going to do tomorrow, something about last year, the past 5 years, something that you're embarrassed about, that you keep thinking about but you can't necessarily like push away, something like that, like anything and everything. And that's the beauty of journaling. And sometimes when you feel like you don't have anything to think about, you just write and you write. And maybe the first paragraph, the first few paragraphs, the first couple of pages might not be anything of value, but the next few sentences after that, the next paragraph after that, the next few pages after that, they're things that you realized about yourself that you've never realized beforehand. And you would have never realized those things. You would have never learned about yourself as a person. You would have never grown in that way if you never started, if you never wrote down those pages. The first few pages that seemed like they were useless or not of any value. So that's something that can happen when it comes to journaling. And as long as you're journaling, that's what matters. There's no right way to do it. There's no wrong way to do it. It's your journal, so you write however you see fit. That is it. That is the simple checklist that I go through if I'm feeling a little off. That is, yeah. You don't need like a whole new morning routine. You don't need an evening routine. Just like, this is something that you can do throughout the day, anytime, anywhere, and make it your own. So that's pretty much it for this video. I really appreciate you for watching, for listening. I'm gonna go through this checklist because I personally have never gone outside yet. I've journaled, I've gotten my water, I've moved up, like I've gotten some exercise. So what do I need to do? I need to go get some sunlight, and I'm already creating, right? So get out there, create. Thanks for listening. I'll see you tomorrow.